I've had my struggles and when I really had to count on my friends, and there's nothing like it.
Catherine Bach was easily one of the most recognizable faces in the 80s, but after the Dukes of Hazzard ended, she just kind of disappeared. Her career sort of fizzled out, and she also had to deal with some personal tragedies. But what happened? And where is Catherine now? Thanks to her role as Daisy Duke, Catherine was hugely popular from the late 70s right up to the mid 80s. She was an icon. I mean, the denim shorts she wore in the Dukes of Hazzard were even nicknamed Daisy Dukes, which is interesting since it actually was Catherine who came up with the wardrobe. It happened after the outfit that the production gave to Catherine didn't really sit well with her. She asked if she could bring her own outfit for the Daisy Duke character. After she was told yes, Catherine decided to go with a plaid shirt and, well, a pair of Daisy Duke shorts. Then she posed for a phenomenal photo shoot that was used to create a poster. And after the poster was released, it sold over 5 million copies. At this point, it was pretty obvious that Catherine was tied to the success of the Dukes of Hazzard. People were especially obsessed with her legs, which led to something pretty crazy. At the time, Catherine was involved in a lot of activities that could put her legs out of business. Now, the logical solution here would have been for Catherine to cut back on those activities, but Catherine was pretty outdoorsy and had no issue with taking some risks. And eventually, this meant that she had to insure her legs for a whopping $1 million. And this was back in the 80s. This should give you a pretty good idea of how much star power Catherine had. The only issue is that after the Dukes of Hazzard wrapped, Catherine was never really in any other A-list movie or show. And it wasn't because she stopped working. It was quite the opposite, actually, because Catherine was involved in several different projects, but things just didn't seem to be working out for her. Some of her more successful roles were still from remakes, sequels, or spin-offs of the original Dukes of Hazzard. Eventually, Catherine returned to CBS to film another series, The Young and the Restless. She was on it from 2012 to 2019, and she played the recurring character of Anita Lawson. Apart from her acting career, Catherine also took time out to create a jewelry line, which she launched back in 2002 with Deb and Hams. After launching her line, Catherine's next business idea was a one-stop shop for all her Daisy Duke memorabilia. She opened the shop in 2015 and named it Daisy Country. Not only does it sell her memorabilia, but Daisy Country also sells her Southern-inspired clothing brand and jewelry. But if you think that things didn't really go as well as you would expect in Catherine's career, you might be very surprised by how things went in her personal life. Back when Catherine played Daisy Duke, she was married, at least for a while. Catherine got married to David Shaw in May of 1976. David was no stranger to the industry that Catherine was in. In fact, he was a movie producer and production manager. But unfortunately, their marriage didn't last. David and Catherine called it quits just 5 years down the line. Catherine was basically at the height of her star power in August 1981 when the divorce was finalized. The divorce was pretty amicable. David and Catherine didn't have any kids together, which probably made everything easier. After David, Catherine actually got married again, and this time it was to a man named Peter Lopez. At the time, Peter was an entertainment lawyer. His clientele included Michael Jackson, the Eagles, and Michael Bublé, so he was one of the top entertainment lawyers at the time. During their marriage, Peter and Catherine welcomed their 2 daughters, Sophia and Laura Lopez. Everything seemed to be going great for them, but then things took a turn for the worse in 2010 for Peter and Catherine, and you're not going to believe how awful it got. Sadly, Peter took his own life. He did this in a part of the compound attached to the house they were living in. When Catherine felt comfortable talking about what happened, she explained that she was surprised when she heard the shot. At first, she ran out of the house toward the sound, but then she had a change of heart when she remembered her 2 daughters. So Catherine ran back into the house and called the authorities. When the officers arrived, they were happy to see that Catherine was safe. This was because around that time, Catherine was getting some threats to her life. But that relief didn't last very long. Catherine told them that the shot happened outside the house. When the officers went outside, they eventually found Peter's body. After a while, it was ruled that there was no foul play and Peter took his own life. Almost 2 years later, Catherine was ready to talk about what happened. She started by saying that every situation of people taking their own lives is unique, because everyone is unique. According to Catherine, she doesn't believe that Peter took his own life because he was depressed. She said that those who communicated with Peter days before he took his life did not think he was depressed. If anything, he had a lot to look forward to, because Peter and Catherine were going to have dinner with Babyface just days after the incident occurred. And according to Catherine, there were no telltale signs that he had thought about it. Some days before, he had paid a visit to the dentist to get his teeth cleaned, so it didn't seem like he was ready to end it all. When Catherine was asked if she felt anger about what Peter did, her reply was quite different from what you might expect. Catherine said she trusts Peter. And while she may not know why he did what he did, she said that her husband of 20 years must have had a good reason for doing it. So instead of anger, the first emotion Catherine felt overwhelmed by was shock, especially for the first year after it happened. Everything felt surreal to Catherine. But luckily, she had some good friends she could rely on. After having to explain what happened to her 2 daughters when they were only 14 and 11 years old, Catherine had to be strong for them. At the same time, she was going through a lot, so it's good to hear that her friends constantly checked in on her and offered to help. Eventually, Catherine found a way to get back to a new normal and then to work, but she hasn't really gotten back to where she once was. So what do you guys think? Did you know about the sad things that happened in Catherine's personal life? Do you think she might make a comeback as an actress? Let me know in the comments below.